is the branch of biology that deals with the relationships and interactions among organisms and their environment. Businesses, particularly business activities, are deemed to be closely tied with ecology. For instance, a manufacturing business may be viewed as an organism that constantly interacts with nature in order to gather resources to continue its operations. This is where we introduce the term business environment. An organization's own environment encompasses factors that may directly or indirectly impact its course of action and or its surroundings, such as another individual, another venture, or the environment itself. These factors include, but are not limited to, supply and demand, economic shifts, consumer needs and expectations, socio-cultural trends, as well as environmental issues. This tells us that the actions of businesses affect their environment, and conversely, the changes in the environment also impact the businesses and their actions.
Businesses' traditional attitudes toward the environment. Traditionally, the environment see business as free and limitless good. This shows that other natural resources from both animals that are caught nearly to eradication were viewed as accessible for businesses to use. Specific situation, contamination and deconsumption of natural resources are two parts of similar issue. Both include spending the said resources that are restricted. Contamination goes through clean air and water, similarly as extraction that goes through the minerals or oil in the ground. The conviction that the two kinds of resources are limitless and free advances inefficient utilization of them. That explains that contamination and the exhaustion of natural resources are now the outcomes. The tragedy of the commons explained that the harmful effect in the environment can likewise be clarified as the after effect of few circumstances, where every individual's or alternative business's quest for personal responsibility can lead to a negative result generally.
To fully understand the spillover effect, let us first define spillover. Spillover is a situation or feeling that starts in one place but then begins to happen or have an effect somewhere else. Spillover effect happens in an economy when the production or consumption of certain products or services impacts a third party that is not necessarily related to the production or consumption of that product or service. In this context, the third party we're talking about is the environment. Common examples of spillover effects includes industrial pollution and traffic congestion. Industrial pollution has harmful effects on people and the environment. Businesses contribute to industrial pollution when they are producing their products or services.
The next part is the ethics of environmental protection. First, the free rider problem. Taking care of the environment should be a top priority for everyone. However, some companies tend to believe that the small amount of pollution they contribute to the overall problem is insignificant. As a result, they rely on and benefit from the efforts of others in preventing and mitigating the problem of pollution. As the phrase goes, they just become really free riders and just continue their business as usual rather than be part of the solution. Indeed, everyone has a right to a livable environment, and everyone should make environmental protection a top priority in order to achieve this goal. Next, what kind of environment do we want? What is required to bring about that kind of environment we want? These are the following questions to assess in considering the cost of pollution control. Additionally, it requires cost-benefit analysis, which is challenging due to the fact that it involves controversial factual assessments and value judgment.
Ecological economics is a relatively new profession that aims to push the limits of the environmental cost-benefits analysis. It determines the value of an ecosystem by calculating how much it would cost to supply the advantages and services it already provides. For example, the value of a wetland in terms of the cost of building structures that provides flood control and storm protection in the same way that natural wetlands do. Who should put the bill? It's a matter of social fairness. There are now two popular responses. Those who are responsible for the pollution should be held accountable. Those who stand to benefit from the conservation and repair of the environment should put the bill.
The main root of environmental problems is the growing population, wherein humans is the main contributor. This implies that everyone is responsible for it. The urbanization caused by humans deals with factories and machineries that exert smokes and oils that cause pollution to the land, air, and water, and also the greed of the people to have a great deal of money and wealth from the unlimited resources that they are getting from environment, even if it means improving it. Every single individual benefits from what environment can offer and provide. Unfortunately, people are ruining it either conscious or not, and up to a certain extent that it is done to under the influence of pleasure and to have a great deal of money. Everyone will benefit benefit greatly from environmental protection and restoration, albeit not necessarily for everyone. And this will lead us to the problem: if pollution concerns everyone, then how much individuals and companies owe the environment? And that question cannot be determined easily. But there is one way where we can repay environment, and that is to stand to environmental protection and restoration no matter what status a person has in life.
After learning about the ethics of environmental protection, there must be a question that comes to your mind, and that is, what is environmental ethics? Environmental ethics is a branch of applied philosophy that studies the conceptual foundations of environmental values and the moral status of the environment and its non-human content. It is also about the more specific issues such as societal attitudes, actions, and policies to protect and sustain biodiversity and ecological systems. There are many ethical decisions that we, human beings, make with respect to the environment. For an instance, should humans continue to clear-cut trees for the sake of human consumption? In short, environmental ethics is the discussion about the protection of natural entities and the sustainable use of natural resources.
Why is it important to study environmental ethics? It is important to study environmental ethics because it helps us to be more aware about the damages that are produced by the current generation, such as air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution. Also, the depletion of resources like extinction of species and habitats, and the excessive consumption of fossil fuels. It will also help in many ways, such as providing better quality of living, protect the environment for future generations by regulating the use of environment, and lastly, it sustains other species as well, which is the moral responsibility of humankind towards all others.
Global warming, global climate change, deforestation, pollution, resource degradation, the threat of extinction are few of the issues from which our planet is suffering. Environmental ethics are a key feature of environmental studies that establishes the relationship between humans and the earth. With environmental ethics, we can ensure that we are doing our part to keep the environment safe and protected. Environmental ethics is the discipline in philosophy that studies the moral relationship of human beings to, and also the value and moral status of the environment and its non-human contents. Humans are a part of society as well as other living things, which includes plants and animals. These items are a very important part of the world and are considered to be a functional part of human life. Therefore, it is essential that every human being respects and honors other living creatures with the use of moral and ethics when dealing with them.
Now, let me explain about social responsibility. Social responsibility is an ethical framework and suggests that an individual has an obligation to work and cooperate with other individuals and organizations for the benefit of the community that will inherit the world said individual leaves behind. In general, social responsibility is more effective when a company takes it on voluntarily, as opposed to being required by the government to do so. Regulations, social responsibility can boost company morale. And this is especially true when a company can engage employees with its social causes.
So for the last part, the Valdez Principles. The Valdez Principles are a collection of 10 standards to control and monitor corporate behavior in environmental problems. These principles, which emphasize transparency, rely on public audits and environmental impact studies. They were created in 1989 in the aftermath of the Exxon Valdez oil tanker disaster, which sank off the coast of Alaska and spilled more than 11 million gallons of crude. The Valdez Principles support a wide range of environmental issues. The Valdez Principles are in favor of a variety of environmental causes. One of these goals is to protect the biosphere, and it pushes the industry to reduce or eliminate pollution emissions. The principles also prioritize biodiversity, conservation, and the long-term development of land, water, forests, and other natural resources. These principles encourage safe and sustainable energy sources, urge recycling whenever possible, and support secure disposal methods, energy efficiency, as well as the marketing of items with little environmental impact are both goals.